PA Bar Practice Test 2026 Pennsylvania Bar Exam Questions and Answers UBE MBE Test Prep Study Guide. Question 1. Under the UCC, what is required for a contract for the sale of goods over $500 to be enforceable? A written contract signed by both parties. A written memorandum signed by the party to be charged. A verbal agreement witnessed by a third party. Payment in full at the time of agreement. The Statute of Frauds, UCC 2-201, requires a writing signed by the party against whom enforcement is sought for goods $500 or more. Question 2. Which of the following best describes larceny? Taking of personal property with the intent to permanently deprive. Taking of property by force or threat. Taking of property through fraudulent misrepresentation. Lawful possession followed by conversion. Larceny is the trespassory taking and carrying away of the personal property of another with the intent to permanently deprive. Question 3. In a civil case, when does a motion for summary judgment get granted? After the jury reaches a verdict. When there is no genuine dispute as to any material fact and the movant is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. When the plaintiff fails to state a claim. When the defendant fails to answer the complaint. Summary judgment is appropriate when the record shows no triable issue of fact. Question 4. Under the Equal Protection Clause, which level of scrutiny applies to classifications based on race? Rational basis, intermediate scrutiny, strict scrutiny, arbitrary scrutiny. Race-based classifications are suspect and require strict scrutiny, compelling state interest and narrowly tailored. Question 5. What is the standard of proof required to convict a defendant in a criminal trial? Preponderance of the evidence, clear and convincing evidence, beyond a reasonable doubt, probable cause. The prosecution must prove every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. Question 6. A fee simple absolute is characterized by ownership for a term of years. Ownership that ends upon a specific event. The highest form of ownership with no restrictions on duration. Ownership shared with a landlord. Fee simple absolute is the most complete interest in land. Question 7. Which of the following is hearsay? A witness testifying about what they saw. An out-of-court statement offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted. A defendant's confession to the police. A certified public record. Hearsay is an out-of-court statement offered for its truth, generally inadmissible unless an exception applies. Question 8. In torts, residential ipsa loquitur allows a plaintiff to win automatically, shift the burden of proof to the defendant, establish a rebuttable inference of negligence when the cause is unknown but the defendant had exclusive control, claim punitive damages without proving intent. The thing speaks for itself, it infers negligence from the nature of the accident. Question 9. A quitclaim deed provides a guarantee of clear title, a warranty against all encumbrances, no warranties, it only transfers whatever interest the grantor has, a guarantee of quiet enjoyment. Quitclaim deeds transfer the grantor's interest without any covenants of title. Question 10. The mirror image rule applies to common law contracts, UCC contracts, real estate leases under 1 year, employment at will. Under common law, an acceptance must match the offer exactly, otherwise, it is a counteroffer. Question 11. What constitutes assault in tort law? The actual touching of another person, an intentional act that creates a reasonable apprehension of imminent harmful or offensive contact, using insulting words, negligently causing fear. Assault is the apprehension of battery. Question 12. Which amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures? First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment protects persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches. Question 13. A motion to dismiss for failure to state a claim is also known as a demurrer, motion for directed verdict, motion for JNOV, interlocutory appeal. In many jurisdictions and historically, this is a demurrer. Question 14. Under the best evidence rule, a party must provide the original writing, recording, or photograph if available, provide at least 2 witnesses, always use a notary, use the most expensive expert. The rule requires the original to prove its content unless it is unavailable. Question 15. In a negligence case, proximate cause refers to the but-for cause, the physical cause of the injury, the legal cause, focusing on foreseeability, the location of the accident. Proximate cause limits liability to consequences that were reasonably foreseeable. Question 16. Adverse possession requires the possession to be secret and temporary, open, notorious, continuous, and hostile, permissive and shared, occasional and hidden. Open and notorious possession is a key element of adverse possession. Question 17. The exclusionary rule prevents the defendant from testifying, evidence obtained in violation of the Constitution from being used at trial, hearsay from being admitted, the jury from seeing the defendant. The rule suppresses evidence gathered through illegal searches or seizures. Question 18. Which of the following is an intentional tort? Speeding and causing an accident, battery, failing to fix a broken stair, medical malpractice. Battery requires intent to cause contact. Question 19. The Commerce Clause gives power to the President to sign treaties, the states to regulate local trade, Congress to regulate interstate commerce, the Supreme Court to hear tax cases. Article I, Section 8, Clause 3. Question 20. A life estate lasts for 99 years, the duration of the grantee's life, until the property is sold, forever. A life estate is an interest measured by the life of a person.